Well, do you have the TikTok app? It is wildly popular these days. But before you used the social media site, did you actually read the pages and pages of TikTok's terms of service and privacy policy? Marcella Lee from our sister station in San Diego spoke to cybersecurity experts who say you're potentially handing over all of your personal data.
Is there a safe way to use it?
Personally, I would not touch TikTok.
You've heard it before. Don't trust TikTok.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
In 2020, then-President Trump threatened to ban the app owned by Beijing-based ByteDance. And just last month,
we collect certain information about the device you use to access the platform.
podcaster Joe Rogan read off TikTok's terms of service, and the clip went viral.
App and file names and types. So all your apps and all your file names, all the things you have filed away on your phone, they have access to that.
Is this really what you're agreeing to when you do what most people do and quickly scroll through the terms of service so you can start using the app? We want to know, is what he said true?
Oddly enough, I don't typically agree with Joe, but he is absolutely spot on correct as it relates to TikTok. It is, from my perspective, a clear and present danger in terms of the amount of data that is collected. It has elements within its terms of service that allow TikTok to share the information collected with anybody and everybody that they choose to, up to and including potentially agencies within the Chinese government.
Matt Stamper is Chief Information Security Officer for Evotech, author of Data Privacy Program Guide, and serves as a co-chair for the San Diego chapter of InfraGard, a partnership between the FBI and the private sector. Matt Stamper says, while you may have ignored all of the warnings until now, it's important for you to know what you're giving TikTok access to, including your geolocation-related data, browsing and search history, your IP address, mobile carrier, model of your device, device system, and app and file names.
You're effectively giving them everything that you have on your phone, and they can use it for whatever purposes that they decide.
But is it everything on your phone or just...
It's the way the terms of services are written. When you're using other applications, they know your files, they know your data, you know your contacts.
And he says perhaps the most nefarious data you might be handing over is this.
Keystroke patterns and rhythms. That's a euphemism for keystroke logging.
There are systems in place that would allow them to potentially get information like what keyboard inputs you're doing or what buttons and links you are clicking.
Software engineer Felix Krause recently shared these images on Twitter, stating, TikTok, when opening any website in their app, injects tracking code that can monitor all keystrokes, including passwords and all taps.
This is how a lot of attacks end up occurring, where you can guess somebody's username or password by what they're inputting on their phone or how they're inputting detail into the UI or the browser or the application.
Some people might not care. They might think, I'm just a regular individual sitting at home. I want to post goofy content. But what is the risk to national security?
It's not just your information that they're collecting. They're also using what's in your profile, your contacts and other kind of files and data. And so let's say you know somebody that works in law enforcement or national security. There's a risk of things like doxing, where the identities of people that work in specialized areas are effectively conveyed.
Stamper points to this recent cyber advisory from the House of Representatives' Chief Administrative Officer. It says TikTok is a Chinese-owned company, and any use of this platform should be done with that in mind. It calls the app high risk because of its terms of service that state it may collect biometric identifiers and information, including face prints and voice prints. We do not recommend the download or use of this application due to these security and privacy concerns. I think until there's a publicized case where data taken from TikTok ends up compromising national security, a lot of people may not listen.
I think there are cases. I don't know how well publicized they are, but I think there's enough inference and enough risk, both from a legal perspective as well as from a functional perspective, that would suggest that TikTok is probably not an application that should be widely used.
It's not on my phone. Lee reached out to TikTok through their media inquiry page. A TikTok spokesperson emailed her back. They addressed software engineer Felix Krause's research, which states TikTok has tracking codes that can monitor keystrokes. A TikTok spokesperson told her in part, quote, "Contrary to the report's claims, we do not collect keystroke or text inputs through this code, which is solely used for debugging, troubleshooting, and performance monitoring." The spokesperson also gave several links to statements they say refute all of these claims, all of which we've put on our website, ktvb.com.